Well, hello, Good Vibe Show fans. Welcome to season 14 of the Good Vibe Show by me, Jerry Haley, part of the Special Chronicles Network. Hope you've all caught up on seasons 1 through 13 of the Good Vibe Show, as well as their season recap specials. And I hope you've checked out the Road to 2022 USA Games special I did. We're just talking about my training up to and the results of my training from the 2022 Special Olympics USA Games in Orlando, Florida. So, folks, you're wondering what the season 14 theme is because I'm pretty sure that might be bugging a lot of you. Probably not, but on my head it says think boldly and think loudly. So I made another twist into that. So think boldly, think loudly, think positively. And to start off this season, I chose creativity because one, a lot of us have to think boldly, loudly, and positively in our creativity. And I think we take that for granted a lot because some of us may claim we don't have any creativity. I don't disagree with that. One, we all have creativity in our own ways. And I think we just have to note that, hey, creativity could be in all three of those. It could also be in all separately of them too. And I think looking at it, the Good Vibe Show is I think boldly, think loudly, think positively watershed moment. Obviously, I'm going to say that right now. When it first started, obviously it does not have all these grandiose followers. It doesn't have all this because it's not meant for that. It's meant to just spread good vibes to people and just keep people cheerful because that was his original intent during its premise, and it's still that premise today, regardless of what some people think of what the show is or people have watched it. But like in its form of its creativity, it's a bold, loudly, and positively idea. And when you look at it, we have music artists who do the same. We have artisans. These are basically people who do actual physical artwork, but also do make things as well. And we have to look at it in many ways that I think it's unique when we look at these creativity mindset of people is that we have to think boldly, think loudly, think positively. And obviously, in the next episode, when I talk about it, because one of the forms of creativity I do is also in Rebel, and I'm going to go in first subject for that for episode 2, folks. So you already got a season 2, episode 2 spoiler right there, folks, but I'm not going to spoil it anymore. Is that I express myself in my creativity in my own graphic designing, but also through other elements I do. And I think, as I believe, you've paid attention to the Good Vibe Show, if you watch any of the videos of these, how much creativity I had in creating the backgrounds, you could say. Like there's a ton of creativity in them, and I think eventually I sell on a singular format. And obviously, this is the best format I like right now, and I think I'm gonna stick with it for a while because one, it shows that hey, I am very creative in my design aspects, my aesthetics for the show. I mean, obviously, one, you see me more various things in the show too, but that was me sort of bringing creativity to the person I was, but also giving it to you to enjoy. And I think you folks have really took on to appreciate the creativity I've had here. But if you also have created your own creativity too, I bet, because you think boldly, think loudly, and think positively as well in your lives. I bet you've been have a lot of creativity to do that in many things as well. So I think we all should give ourselves a massive amount of kudos for that. And obviously, like those who took on other forms of creativity to do things and everything. And I think we're always going to think boldly, we're going to think loudly, think positively. And I think that's what makes us who we are as people. That we think boldly, think loudly, and think positively. And I think we take the three words themselves, boldly, loudly, and positively, for granted. And we should remind ourselves that, hey, those are important to us as we develop as people. Because one, we don't keep thinking boldly, thinking loudly, or think positively in everything we do. What are we going to achieve in life? And I think we could achieve many things with those things. But I think in the form of creativity, that's the first thing we need to think about when doing this. So I thank you folks for tuning in for this episode, of course, and I thank you all for listening to talk about thinking boldly, think loudly, think positively. Let's around creativity. Now let's wrap up this episode with our great sponsor from the Special Chronicles Network. The Give Back Show is proudly featured on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, now known as X, folks. Be sure to also subscribe to the newsletter and find the podcast page for this podcast, The Good Vibe Show by me, Jerry Holy. If you love The Good Vibe Show, then you love the other podcasts on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe to our podcast, newsletter, and to follow us on social media. and to support the podcast on Special Chronicles so we continue our mission of giving respect and voice to people with special talents and abilities. Visit specialchronicles.com/give to make a gift today. And folks, I think we always have to remember why I chose the meaning behind the show, behind the meaning of this theme. Think positively, think boldly, think loudly. I said it in reverse order there. Is that we need to do it. And I think that's the meaning behind thinking boldly, thinking lively, and thinking positively. So I just want to remind you folks that there's always a meaner. So, but I want to remind you folks to follow the Good Vibes Show on Instagram, Good Vibes by JH, and Facebook, facebook.com/Good Vibes by JH. You can also follow on YouTube the same way, has the same thing. You can also subscribe to the Good Vibes Show by me, Jerry Hilly, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or where you get your podcasts from. But also a big reminder to you folks, if you want to support me even more, you can support me via checking out my Redbubble store. Look up Jerry M. Holly as an artist. I have a Redbubble shop. You can go there and get things for me. And I appreciate you all taking the opportunity to look into that stuff. And I hope you make a good purchase. So until next week for episode 2, which you already know the subject matter of it, I hope you all have a great week. I'll see you next time. I hope you all enjoy season 4, folks. Peace out, boop, blah, and have a great time, folks. And I'll see you next time for episode 2. Bye, everyone.